What's that uttering in front of your breath? What's that uttering in front of your breath? I can hear it at least where I can find the tension, or for the body language I can find you. What's that uttering in front of your breath? I can hear it at least where I can find the tension, or for the body language I can find you. What's that uttering in front of your breath? I can hear it at least where I can find the tension, or for the body language I can find you. What's that uttering in front of your breath? I can hear it at least where I can find the tension, or for the body language I can find you. What's that uttering in front of your breath? I can hear it at least where I can find the tension, or for the body language I can find you. You are not what you were told to be held so high for the song, for the poem, for the listening of what you can find gold. I call that meeting for you were happy enough. And I said it for the disagreement, for the better man, for the to be the rubbish for the tale, to be taught for the who, for the battle, for the thinking of the good man who didn't care enough for the alchemy, the potions, and my gold disappeared. You find that for the new self? Are you not for the brain, for the matter, for the pulse, for the beat, the crevices, or are you the body yourself, for the border, not for the immortal, for the big crouch like the flesh, for the vampire, for the packed into the bat, for the you house, enough for the be or not, for the tenant, for the land over the skin. I'm not for the avatar, for the you could find it last night. Damn for the electrified. I thought again for the beauty, the conscious, and I have time for the you to be proposing. This to be the game for the city, get my pride. Deposed, you can find the other, buried in the light. And I found myself a Jew for the glow, for the sunlight, the falling through. Lace through your walls, the equation only do destruction. Solve for you. Who else to find out for the starting of the day for the masturbation you committed? The night years ago for the love rose enough for the this to be the fin for the starting of the overflow, for the dropping of the goal, for the royal beats of the beating God's a line for the east. Unhinging of their own jaw, for the acceleration of the find a rail, for the thoughts so recent under an outer world again, for the be they find the stew, for the moment, for the dream, for the view. Become washed enough for the hues. There were no clues of the phantom music of the air, for the times you took it down for the body, for the thinking. Who can find out for the nap, for the snapping of the stuff, for the entrapment, for the tanglement, for the logic, for the subway. Where I refrain for the this to be the double track, for the talking to yourself and what is the trick, the trip, and the fell into with the thought. Curled within that for the constant, ticked out for the finding frequency, for the cascade of the toxins. Or something over what you could find a queen. Signals everywhere for the rating of the brain. Something in me for the unpaid, for the cosmic depth and the EU. And needs to be their raised. And different the near for the waves and overlapping you. Slapping you for the stopping the back for the ratio. The single note for the climbing and stack over here. Sibling it and down for the vine, for the finger, for the in the ear, the ears and the knife, for the drawer, for the having it back, for the to be the really enough for the slight figure. You can find that for the thoughts of the underweaving of the I begin to life and it's funny, isn't it? And this will be the brain for the ghost, for the stove that controlling of the soul, for the embracing of the past to keep it to whole again, for the feeling of the treble over the skin, for the something at edge of the sight, for the closing in, for the world, for the picture, for the taking it quite right again, for the passion, taking that for the past, for the part, or this for the investigation, for the crime, and it would be the time, but enough to get fucked on the witcher, what you can, who is that for the innocent, of you can find a voodoo, for what you can find an invaded, for the cures of the being that, for the admitting of the least of the liberals, the Christ, the voice to sing that, ugly enough for the praise, and the language of that for the diamond, enough for the be scruff, and proof, and enough for the mystic, for the air, I don't care, enough for the sentiments, for the who sex was the days after the long, but it was trust. Became that for the convincing and the contraction of what you can find a long hand of a war, for the statistic of a wife and the infection of a rape. This to be the particles of the chance of battalion, for the hotline, for the working, the safe, for the butt. You had the matters for the building of the drama all around you, for the validation, for the Victoria, for what you swap places, for the food, for the setup, for the self-talk. Undone. Patient enough for the hearing of the you can find it for the insisting of it existed that because it's not for else, so it could be so cruel. I don't know, I suppose. and the hopeful sounds of you and the melody for the music. There's always that one. You replace that for the lies of the longing of your truth with a half woman asleep at the floor. Piece of that for the cardboard, for the feet, for the finding yourself, for the spirit, for the lens, and the well for your head. You can reach it. The woman that sits on the chair who won't speak. This is not for the dressing or the dress, for the success she won't know the name of the lights and tell her about the sneaking of the past, for the time, for the rocking of the means, of the horror, for the rags, and this will be talking about who she is and nobody would know. Who's alive out for the beautiful dead? Who's alive that for the outside for the third? You're hot enough for the summer. You're hot enough for the glimmer. Who's to find that lady for the day? Who's born to the song for the little bit of green, for the stir it all, the nose, for enough for the brown sugar, for the dream, for who can rap it inside of a note, for the who can have that for the delight. Who can find that for the later day, can sing it to nobody will ever have that song. Who can join for the swung and jazz, enough for the bittersweet songs, enough for the heartbreak, for you can be melted in yesterday's tomorrows in beautiful rain. Not to be in vain, not for the party, not for the earthly light, not for that to find a portrait of a sparrow. Here, for the day, it is I, for the note to reality, I found myself conclusive. Without for the even knowing, for you to believe that for the long time, for the looking up into the under the microscope, and you can see the truth multiplying over and over, enough for the books and find the history for the books. Here for the persuading of you, dry blood, blind, this will be the bond for you to be thrusting up above. Here for the truth and the manifold, for here for the die, for the big above that, for the only the postcard you can find at Picasso, or dry to die for the way, on the way for the death of the nature, for the necessity up on the fair. I find that for the quotation marks. Or should we put it inside? That or not for the experience to be shown. Not in my mind for there never be clear and refined. Entangling the life of the man. I met my soul. And it was that for the smeared, enough for the brewers, enough for the people paraded, enough for the slain. For the officer, you can find the smell of the fresh breath for the mourner, for the salivating out over the will. I find that for the peace be still. Look for the Mary, for the river, maybe for the cinnamon, for the murmur inside of the mouth, for the mountain. You can find the sound for the rain is born. Searching for the clouds of the field. You'll find their village and enough for the doctor to be rested, enough for the tools. Laying down that bloody offering for the bird, for this is not the cry for the beginning or the river for the birthing out of the vow to the earth, for the saying that he was born enough for the you don't have the breath. And all the eye for the eyes of the tiger for the breast, so to be the hell to hide enough for the weapons of the sky and to be born. I cannot say.
Okay.
I'm born yesterday tomorrow.
Did I make it obsolete?
And the point, did I make it obsolete? We had to define that for the trouble that meeting you. The adversary with the confession of you. Could be that for the general to sit at the door. For the eyes for the fat, for the belladonna, for the you could be naked enough for the sep that for the small painted turtles, and you were drinking that for the flippable cloud. Around your milk for your navel, for shipping out to the harbor, for the loosely alive, for the this to be the crowd to the floating and the blige, and occasionally light on the ship, winking of the empty room for the manuscript. Something that's gonna go. Now he hear that general for the torching and search for the children, for the men and women with the jumping for the burning, hotel for the journalists. In no hurry to elect that for the taking of the elevator, for the walking out of the building, stepping over the corpse you were listening to the loud bells, the corpse to get up and the following of the journalists. You fought the unfair for the wild for the rehearse that for the, what was actually sucked to. No one sobbed at the dispute shirt for the rest of the building and asked you could find a trail. It was a tell heart for whatever it is watching. It was kept that for the secret from you with your loneliness of tomorrow. I will find that for the record. For the benevolence, for the underestimating you, for the reason to find that agony inside of the garden. It was a summer that the whispered something for your ear. Who wants you for the garden? Who wants it cool and waiting for the place against a tree for the you see the window. Watch and walk that door to death to reach into the pocket for the pulling in the wallet. You can find it for the giving. for the lamp, for the pen, for the leaning on the what to write and don't take over to something that's heavy enough for the drawer. Put it back, then sweep into the money for the paperback. Or you can find that for the desk, for the reaching back into the putting into the light. You film that for the order in the camera you walk towards. Saddle that for the shop, for the pedestrian. Be that for the waiting in the garden, and I'll find the agony. We don't know yet what the river has claimed you. It's that for the not know for whom you met or why. I don't need to know the answers. And have I waited for that siren to be appearing? And I can listen to the handed of the pamphlets in the corner for this to be the convenience of the death to be the alligator head for the framing of what you can find wide eyes and teeth in the grating, and you are that for the entwelling of the scale stuck in the side of your thinking the body. Living with those to the number for the warnings, and have lived under that for the blankets, and you'll find the fitting of the sleeve. You have that proof in the outline, refracted of the edge. I will be at rest. Did I make it obsolete? We had to define that for the trouble that we did you. We had with the confession of you. Could be that for the general to sit at the door. For the eyes for the fat, for the better dollar, for the you could be naked enough for the step that for the small painted turtles, for the drinking that for the flammable clock. Around your mill for your navel for shipping out to the harbor for the loosely get life for the distance the crowds of the floating and the blind. Occasionally light on the ship, waking up the empty room with the manuscript. Someone that's gonna hear that general for the torching and search for the children, for the men and women, for the jumping, for the burning, hotel for the journalists. In no hurry to elect that for the taking of the elevator, for the walking out of the building, stepping over the corpse you were listening to the loud bell, the corpse to get up and the following of the journalists. You fought the unfair for the wild for the rehearsal, rehearse that for what was actually sucked to. No one sobs at the disc be the shirt for the dress of the building began asking you could find a trail. It was a tell heart for whatever it is watching. It was kept that for the secret for me, but the loneliness of the mind. I can find that for the reference. For the benevolence, for the underestimating you, for the reason to find that agony inside of the garden. It was a supper that whispered something for your ear. Who wants you for the garden? Who wants it cooling and waiting for the place against the tree for the you see the window. Watch and walk that door to desk to reach into the pocket for the pulling in the wallet. You can find that for the evening. The lamp for the pen, for the leaning on the what to write and don't take over to something that's heavy enough for the drawer. Put it back, then sweep into the money for the paperback. Or you can find that for the desk, the reaching back into the putting into the light. You film that for the order in the camera you walk towards. Saddle that for the shop for the pedestrian. Be that for the waiting in the garden, and I'll find the agony. We don't know yet what the river has claimed you. It's that for the not know for whom we met or why. I don't need to know the answers. Have I waited for that siren to be appearing? And I can listen to the handed of the pamphlets in the corner for this to be the convenience of the death to be the alligator head for the framing of what you can find wide eyes and teeth in the brain. You are that for the entwelling of the scale stuck in the side of your skin in the body. Living with those to the number for the warnings, and have lived under that for the blankets, and you'll find the fitting of a sleeve, and you have that proof in the outline.
Don't need to ask those rhetorical questions.
'cause I know why. I am love. Falling deep into myself. Why did I fall in love? I will get up, try again. Why did I fall in love? I will get up, try again. Wipe my heart off my sleeve. Love, I do believe. Why did I fall in love? She broke my heart, put it back together again. Did I fall in love again? Am I tripping? Or am I tongue tied off of my laces? Listen to repetitive ways that I can find it face to face. The ways that leads me, the ways adjacent to those of you pair love. It's anonymous and we can get that. Don't need to ask those rhetorical questions, 'cause I know why. I am love. Falling deep into myself. Why did I fall in love? I will get up, try again. Wipe my heart off